Let yourself settle now into a comfortable position. Feel your body sinking into whatever supports you. There's nothing you need to remember from what you're about to hear. No test waiting. No need to hold on to facts or figures. Tonight, we're going to explore the quiet mysteries of human connection, the science that lives beneath our most tender moments. You don't need to follow every detail. Just let the words wash over you like gentle waves, carrying you toward rest. Your mind can wander freely, drifting between the soft rhythm of these discoveries and the deeper currents of sleep that call to you. There's no rush, no urgency, only the slow unfolding of understanding and the peaceful journey toward dreams. Imagine your brain as a quiet laboratory where love brews in chemical whispers. When someone falls in love, their mind becomes a gentle storm of molecules, each one carrying messages of joy and connection. Dopamine flows like warm honey through neural pathways, creating those moments of pure elation when you see that special person. It's the same chemical that makes us reach for chocolate or feel satisfied after accomplishing something wonderful. The brain doesn't distinguish between the pleasure of love and other rewards. It simply floods us with this golden feeling of rightness. Oxytocin joins this dance, released during every tender touch, every long embrace, every intimate moment shared. Scientists call it the love hormone, but it feels more like a soft blanket wrapping around two hearts, drawing them closer together. This same chemical helps mothers bond with their babies, creating those unbreakable threads of care and protection. Meanwhile, serotonin levels drop quietly in the background, which might explain why new love feels so consuming, so all-encompassing, like nothing else in the world matters. What's remarkable is how similar this chemical symphony is to addiction. The same brain regions light up, the same pathways activate, as if love and longing spring from the same ancient well. Perhaps this is why love feels both chosen and inevitable, both decision and destiny. The brain treats love not as a choice we make, but as a biological imperative, as natural and necessary as breathing. Have you ever wondered about that moment when eyes meet across a crowded room and time seems to pause? What feels like magic is actually your brain working faster than thought itself. In those first few milliseconds, before you even realize you're attracted to someone, your mind has already made 1,000 calculations, processing facial symmetry, reading subtle social cues, comparing this new person to templates stored deep in memory. Your brain carries blueprints of attraction, shaped by every face you've ever loved, every story you've ever heard about romance, every cultural message about what makes someone desirable. These templates work like filters, highlighting certain features, certain expressions, certain ways of moving through the world. When someone matches these patterns closely enough, that spark ignites. Evolution whispers in these moments too. Our ancestors, who could quickly identify healthy, cooperative partners, were more likely to survive and thrive. So we've inherited this ability to rapidly assess genetic fitness, to spot signs of kindness and intelligence, to feel drawn to qualities that once meant survival. The halo effect adds its own gentle distortion. When we find someone physically attractive, we automatically assume they're kind, intelligent, worthy of our affection. It's a beautiful illusion, this love at first sight. Real, but not necessarily reliable. Like seeing a stunning landscape through morning mist. The beauty is genuine, but the details remain softly blurred, waiting to be discovered in the clearer light of deeper acquaintance. Picture a small child reaching for comfort. The way they respond to that reaching shapes every love story they'll ever write. Attachment theory tells us that our earliest relationships become the invisible blueprint for all future connections. These patterns run so deep we rarely notice them, yet they guide us like underground rivers, flowing beneath every choice we make about love. Those blessed with secure attachment move through love like swimmers in calm water. They learned early that reaching out brings comfort, that vulnerability is met with care, that love is a safe harbor rather than a stormy sea. They communicate their needs clearly, offer support freely, and rest easy in the knowledge that love doesn't require perfection, only presence. But some learned different lessons in those tender early years. Those with anxious attachment experienced love as unpredictable, sometimes there, sometimes not. Now they love with an urgent hunger, always watching for signs of departure, always needing more reassurance than their partners can provide. Their hearts beat a little faster in love, always listening for the sound of footsteps walking away. Others built walls early, learning that independence was safer than intimacy. These avoidant souls move through love like visitors in a foreign country, appreciating the scenery but always keeping their passport ready. They've forgotten how to need, how to let someone else become essential. Their love is careful, measured, always with one foot pointed toward the exit. And some carry the chaos of disorganized attachment, wanting closeness and fearing it in equal measure. Their love stories swing between desperate need and protective distance, like dancers who can't quite find the rhythm. Understanding these patterns is like finding a map to our own hearts, showing us not just where we are, but where we might choose to go. Close your eyes and imagine our ancient ancestors, standing on the edge of vast savannas, facing dangers we can barely comprehend. In that world, love wasn't just an emotion, it was a survival strategy. The bonds between partners determined whether children lived to see their first birthday, whether families thrived through harsh seasons. whether our species continued its long journey forward. Romantic love evolved as nature's way of ensuring cooperation. Human babies are helpless for years, requiring more care than almost any other species. Two parents working together could provide protection, food, warmth, teaching. The children of devoted couples were more likely to survive, to grow strong, to carry their parents' genes into the future. Love became evolution's investment in tomorrow. This ancient purpose still echoes in modern hearts. We're drawn to partners who seem healthy, capable, committed to staying. We feel attraction to those whose genes might complement our own, creating stronger, more resilient children. Even when we're not planning families, these old programs run quietly in the background, shaping whom we notice, whom we desire, whom we choose to build lives with. The intensity of romantic love, that all-consuming passion, makes perfect evolutionary sense. It takes tremendous motivation to convince two independent individuals to merge their lives completely, to share resources, to prioritize someone else's well-being alongside their own. Love provides that motivation, flooding us with chemicals that make partnership feel not just desirable, but necessary, essential as breathing, inevitable as sunrise. Even now, when survival no longer depends on finding the perfect mate, we carry these ancient patterns within us. Love stories written in our DNA, whispered from generation to generation through the long, slow dance of human evolution. Travel with me now across the wide world, where love wears different faces in different places. In some cultures, love begins with a glance across a coffee shop, a swipe on a phone screen, a moment of recognition between two souls who choose each other. In others, love grows slowly in arranged marriages, tended carefully by families who have known each other for generations, planted like seeds in well-prepared soil, and nurtured until it blooms. Western cultures paint love in bold, passionate strokes. Love at first sight, whirlwind romances, the idea that you'll know when you know. Movies and songs tell us that love should feel overwhelming, that it should sweep us off our feet and carry us toward happily ever after. This romantic ideal shapes expectations, making love feel like destiny rather than choice, like discovery rather than creation. But travel east or south, or into communities where families still hold strong influence over their children's futures, and you'll find different stories. Here, love is often seen as something that grows with time, that develops through shared experiences, through learning to care for each other's needs, through building a life together, brick by brick. These cultures trust in love's ability to develop, to deepen, to mature like wine in carefully tended cellars. The rise of global communication changes these patterns. Dating apps cross cultural boundaries. Young people in traditional societies discover new ways of meeting, new models of romance. The old ways blend with the new, creating unique hybrids of arranged and autonomous love. What remains constant across all cultures is the human need for connection, for someone to share the journey with. The forms may differ, but the longing stays the same. Like rivers that flow toward the sea through different landscapes, all love stories seek the same destination. That place where two people become something greater than the sum of their parts. Some couples seem to possess a secret. They move through decades together with grace, weathering storms that sink other relationships, growing stronger rather than growing apart. Dr. John Gottman spent years studying these successful partnerships, watching them interact, listening to how they spoke to each other, searching for the patterns that separate lasting love from temporary attraction. He discovered that certain behaviors predict relationship failure with startling accuracy. Criticism that attacks the person rather than addressing the problem. Defensiveness that turns every conversation into a battle. Contempt that poisons respect with eye rolls and sarcasm. Stonewalling that shuts down communication entirely. These four horsemen, as he called them, gallop through relationships, leaving destruction in their wake. But the couples who thrive do something different. They turn toward each other instead of away. When one partner makes a small bid for attention, a comment about the weather, a request for help, a moment of shared observation, the other responds with interest rather than indifference. These tiny moments accumulate like drops of water filling a reservoir, creating a deep well of goodwill that can sustain the relationship through difficult times. The body helps too. Couples who regularly release oxytocin through touch, through shared activities, through moments of synchronized joy, build stronger bonds at the cellular level. Their nervous systems learn to regulate together, to find calm in each other's presence, to treat their partner as a source of safety rather than stress. Perhaps most importantly, couples who last share compatible visions of the future. They want similar things from life, value similar experiences, work toward goals that complement rather than compete with each other. Their love becomes not just an emotion, but a partnership, a team working together toward something greater than either could achieve alone. This is love as architecture, built to last, designed to shelter two lives through all of time's seasons. Think about how you met your last romantic partner. Now, imagine that same meeting happening 50 years ago. Before the internet, before dating apps, before the ability to browse thousands of potential partners from the comfort of your couch. The landscape of modern love has been completely transformed by screens and algorithms, by the endless possibility of connection across any distance. Dating applications promise to solve the problem of finding love through data. They analyze your preferences, your location, your behaviors, creating matches based on compatibility scores and shared interests. In many ways, this is remarkably efficient. People can connect across cities, across countries, across social circles that would never have naturally intersected. Shy individuals can express themselves in writing before meeting face to face. Busy professionals can search for partners during lunch breaks. But abundance creates its own challenges. When faced with seemingly infinite options, some people struggle to commit to any single choice. They swipe through profiles like customers browsing an endless store, always wondering if the perfect person might be just one swipe away. This paradox of choice can make love feel like shopping, reducing complex human beings to a collection of photos and bullet points. Social media adds another layer to modern romance. Couples can stay connected throughout the day, sharing moments and thoughts in real time. But these same platforms can fuel jealousy, create unrealistic comparisons, turn private relationships into public performances. The curated perfection of online life can make real relationships feel inadequate, messy, disappointingly ordinary. Perhaps most significantly, digital communication is changing how couples talk to each other. Text messages and emails lack the nuance of facial expressions, the warmth of vocal tone, the immediate feedback of physical presence. Important conversations happen through screens, where misunderstandings multiply and emotions get lost in translation. Learning to love in the digital age means learning to balance convenience with depth, efficiency with intimacy, connection with commitment. Deep inside your brain, in regions older than language, older than consciousness itself, romantic attachment rewrites your neural architecture. When you fall in love, your brain doesn't just think differently, it literally becomes different, changing its structure and function to accommodate this new, overwhelming reality of caring for another person. The ventral tegmental area awakens like a city coming to life at dawn. Dopamine floods through reward pathways, making every interaction with your beloved feel like winning a prize. But this isn't just pleasure, it's learning. Your brain is forming new neural highways, creating memories so vivid they feel more real than ordinary experience. The face of your loved one becomes burned into your neural networks, recognizable in milliseconds, prioritized above all other faces in a crowd. Oxytocin and vasopressin join this chemical symphony, released during every kiss, every embrace, every moment of shared intimacy. These hormones don't just make you feel connected, they literally wire your brain for attachment, creating biological bonds as real as any chain or rope. Your nervous system begins to treat your partner as an extension of yourself, a source of comfort and regulation as essential as sleep or food. Brain scans reveal the profound changes that love creates. When shown pictures of their romantic partners, people in love show activation in the caudate nucleus, the same region involved in learning new skills. This suggests that loving someone is literally a form of learning, a rewiring of priorities and preferences that happens below the level of conscious choice. The anterior cingulate cortex, involved in emotional regulation and empathy, shows increased activity in those experiencing romantic attachment, as if the brain is expanding its capacity for emotional complexity, learning to hold not just its own feelings, but the feelings of another. Love doesn't just change how we feel, it changes how we're capable of feeling, expanding the very machinery of emotion to accommodate a larger, more interconnected world. Your heart quickens when you see them walking toward you. Your skin grows warm at their touch. Your breathing changes when they whisper your name. Love announces itself not just through emotions, but through the body itself, transforming physiology in ways both subtle and profound, as if every cell awakens to this new reality of connection. In the early stages of romantic love, adrenaline courses through your system, heightening awareness, sharpening focus, making colors seem brighter and sounds more vivid. You might find yourself needing less sleep, feeling energized for hours, as if your body has found a new source of power. This biochemical cocktail of attraction creates a natural high, a state of enhanced perception where everything feels more alive, more possible. But love's greatest gift to the body might be its ability to calm the stress response. When you're with someone you truly love, cortisol levels drop, blood pressure decreases, the nervous system shifts from vigilance to relaxation. Touch becomes medicine, releasing endorphins that ease pain and promote healing. Some studies suggest that people in loving relationships recover from illness faster, their immune systems strengthened by the biochemistry of connection. The cardiovascular benefits of love are particularly striking. Happy couples show lower rates of heart disease, reduced inflammation, better overall cardiovascular health, as if the heart, that ancient symbol of love, actually benefits from loving and being loved. The metaphor becomes literal. Love heals hearts, not just emotionally, but physiologically. Yet love's withdrawal can damage these same systems. Heartbreak isn't just a figure of speech. The pain of lost love activates the same brain regions as physical injury. Stress hormones flood the system. Sleep patterns fragment. Appetite disappears. The body grieves not just with tears, but with a comprehensive physiological response, showing us just how deeply love integrates with our biological systems, how completely it becomes part of our physical being. Picture two people planning their wedding. excited about their future together, then discovering they have completely different ideas about money. One saves every penny, the other spends freely. One sees money as security, the other as a tool for enjoyment. This seemingly practical disagreement touches something deeper, revealing different values, different fears, different dreams about what life should be. Money and love intertwine in ways that go far beyond simple arithmetic. Economic stability affects partner choice more than we like to admit. Evolutionary psychology suggests we're unconsciously drawn to partners who can provide resources, security, a stable foundation for building a life together. This isn't shallow materialism, but ancient wisdom encoded in our genes. The understanding that love alone cannot shelter children from hunger or cold. Financial stress tests relationships like nothing else. When money becomes scarce, couples often turn against each other instead of working together. Disagreements about spending priorities become battles about values, about control, about trust. The practical problem of not having enough money becomes the emotional problem of not feeling heard, respected, understood. Statistics show that financial disagreements predict divorce more reliably than almost any other factor. Modern relationships must also navigate changing economic roles. Traditional models where one partner provided income while the other managed the home are giving way to more complex arrangements. Dual career couples, house husbands, freelance workers, entrepreneurs. The old scripts no longer apply, leaving couples to negotiate new agreements about who contributes what, how decisions get made, how success gets measured. Economic conditions shape love patterns across entire societies. During recessions, marriage rates decline as people postpone commitment until they feel financially ready. During prosperous times, couples invest more in weddings, homes, families. Love remains constant, but its expression adapts to economic realities. Money doesn't buy love, but it does affect how love gets lived, day by day, choice by choice, in the practical dance of sharing a life. Imagine trying to build a house where one person speaks only English and the other speaks only Spanish. They both want the same thing, a beautiful, sturdy home. But without a common language, their efforts become frustration. Their good intentions become misunderstandings. This is what happens in relationships when partners don't know how to communicate, when words become walls instead of bridges. Effective communication in love requires more than just talking. It demands active listening, that rare skill of truly hearing not just the words, but the feelings underneath. When your partner says they're fine, but their shoulders are tense and their smile doesn't reach their eyes, are you listening with your ears or with your whole attention? Communication includes the language of bodies, of silences, of what gets said and what remains unspoken. Conflict is inevitable in any close relationship. Two separate people will inevitably want different things, have different needs, see situations from different perspectives. But conflict doesn't have to be destructive. When approached with curiosity instead of defensiveness, disagreements become opportunities to understand each other more deeply, to find solutions that honor both people's needs, to grow stronger through the process of working things out together. The research is clear. Couples who communicate well stay together longer and report higher satisfaction. But what does good communication look like? It's asking open-ended questions instead of making assumptions. It's expressing your own needs clearly without attacking your partner's character. It's remembering that you're on the same team, working toward the same goal of a happy relationship, even when you disagree about the best path forward. Perhaps most importantly, good communication requires vulnerability, the courage to share not just your thoughts, but your fears, your insecurities, your deepest longings. This kind of openness creates intimacy, but it also requires trust, the knowledge that your tender truths will be handled with care. Communication becomes the foundation upon which love builds its home. Word by careful word, conversation by honest conversation. Every person who walks into a new relationship carries invisible luggage, packed with memories, fears, hopes, and patterns learned from every love that came before. These past experiences don't just influence romantic relationships, they help create them, shaping expectations so completely that we often don't realize how much of our present is colored by our history. Childhood provides the first template. If you grew up watching your parents navigate conflict with respect and compromise, you learned that disagreements don't threaten love, that two people can work through problems together. If you witnessed constant fighting or cold silence, you might approach your own relationships expecting either chaos or emotional distance. These early models operate like background software, running programs we rarely examine. Previous romantic relationships add their own layers to this programming. A partner who cheated might leave you hyper-vigilant about faithfulness, scanning for signs of betrayal even in the most trustworthy relationship. Someone who was deeply loved and then abandoned might struggle with the paradox of intimacy, wanting closeness but fearing the vulnerability it requires. These experiences create what psychologists call emotional baggage, the accumulated weight of unhealed wounds. But past experiences also bring wisdom. Each relationship teaches lessons about what works and what doesn't, about personal needs and boundaries, about the difference between settling and compromising. The person who learned to communicate clearly after years of misunderstandings, the one who discovered self-worth after a relationship that diminished it. These positive learnings become strengths that enrich future connections. The healthiest approach involves conscious reflection, taking time to understand how past experiences shape current behaviors, recognizing when old fears are influencing present choices. This kind of self-awareness allows people to break negative patterns, to choose responses based on current reality rather than old wounds. Love becomes not just an emotion, but a practice of growth, healing, becoming more whole through the mirror of relationship. Step back and look at love through the lens of society itself. As if you were an anthropologist studying a fascinating cultural phenomenon. Marriage and romantic love don't exist in isolation. They're embedded in the larger social fabric, shaped by economic systems, religious beliefs, political structures, and cultural narratives about what constitutes a good life. Through most of human history, marriage was primarily an economic and social arrangement. Families negotiated unions to consolidate resources, form alliances, ensure the continuation of family lines. Love, if it developed, was considered a pleasant bonus rather than the main event. The idea that romantic love should be the foundation of marriage is relatively new, emerging strongly only in the last few centuries, particularly in Western societies that began to value individual choice over collective benefit. This shift reflects broader changes in society: the rise of individualism, economic independence, gender equality, and social mobility, all contributed to love-based marriage becoming not just possible, but expected. When people can support themselves economically, when women have rights independent of their husbands, when social class becomes more fluid, then personal compatibility and emotional connection become more important than practical considerations. But love and marriage continue to evolve. Alternative family structures, cohabitation without marriage, same-sex partnerships, single parenthood by choice. These variations challenge traditional definitions while expanding the possibilities for how love gets lived. Each generation must figure out how to honor both personal desires and social responsibilities, how to build intimate relationships within the larger community. Different cultures approach this balance differently. Some prioritize family approval and social harmony. Others emphasize individual fulfillment and personal choice. Neither approach is inherently superior. Both represent attempts to solve the fundamental human challenge of balancing personal happiness with social stability. Love remains constant, but its social expressions continue to evolve, adapting to new realities while serving the ancient human need for connection and continuity. Imagine waking up each morning and noticing something your partner does that makes you smile. The way they hum while making coffee, how they always remember to water the plants, the gentle way they pet the cat. Gratitude might seem too simple to matter much in the grand scheme of love, but research reveals it as one of the most powerful tools for building and maintaining strong relationships. Gratitude works like sunshine in a garden. encouraging the growth of positive behaviors while creating an atmosphere where love can flourish. When you regularly acknowledge what your partner does well, you're not just being polite, you're actually training both of your brains to notice the good things, to focus on strengths rather than shortcomings, to build a reservoir of positive feelings that can sustain you through difficult times. The mechanism is elegantly simple. When someone feels appreciated, they naturally want to continue the behaviors that earned that appreciation. When they feel criticized or taken for granted, they become less motivated to go the extra mile. Gratitude creates a positive feedback loop where small acknowledgements lead to continued kindness, which generates more reasons for gratitude, which inspires even greater generosity of spirit. This practice becomes especially powerful during conflicts. Couples who regularly express gratitude to each other approach disagreements from a foundation of goodwill. They remember that their partner is fundamentally on their side, even when they disagree about specific issues. This positive context helps prevent small problems from escalating into relationship-threatening battles. The gratitude doesn't eliminate conflict, but it provides a soft landing place for working through difficulties. Simple practices can cultivate this habit. Keeping a daily gratitude journal focused on your relationship, sharing 3 things you appreciated about your partner each evening, sending unexpected text messages of appreciation. These small acts accumulate like compound interest, growing into a culture of appreciation that strengthens the relationship from within. Gratitude becomes both the practice and the reward, a way of loving that creates more love, effortlessly and naturally. The absence of love cuts as deeply as any physical wound, perhaps deeper. When relationships end or affection goes unreciprocated, the human psyche responds with a grief so profound it can alter brain chemistry, disrupt sleep patterns, and challenge our fundamental sense of who we are. Heartbreak isn't just a metaphor, it's a full-body experience that demonstrates just how thoroughly love integrates with our psychological and physical systems. Brain imaging reveals the startling truth. Areas that light up during physical pain also activate during emotional rejection. The anterior insular and anterior cingulate cortex, regions that process the sting of a burn or the ache of a broken bone, respond identically to the pain of lost love. The brain doesn't distinguish between physical and emotional injury, treating heartbreak with the same urgency it reserves for bodily harm. The neurochemical changes compound this suffering. Dopamine levels, once elevated by the presence of the beloved, plummet when that source of joy disappears. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone that created feelings of attachment and trust, diminishes, leaving behind a sense of disconnection and isolation. The brain must literally rewire itself, dismantling neural pathways that had become associated with love and building new ones that don't include that person. For some people, the psychological consequences extend beyond temporary sadness into clinical depression or anxiety. The loss of love can trigger existential questions, challenges to self-worth, fears about future relationships. The intensity of this response reflects love's central importance to human well-being. When we lose love, we don't just lose a person, we lose a version of ourselves, a future we had imagined, a source of meaning and purpose. Healing from heartbreak requires both time and intention. Therapy can help process the complex emotions involved. Social support provides alternative sources of connection and validation. Self-care practices help restore physical and emotional equilibrium. Understanding that heartbreak is a normal response to a significant loss can reduce the secondary suffering of judging ourselves for feeling so much pain. The depth of heartbreak paradoxically demonstrates the depth of our capacity for love, proof of our profound ability to connect with others. Deep within your DNA, written in the language of chromosomes and genes, lies part of the story of whom you find attractive. Romantic preference isn't entirely learned, isn't purely cultural, isn't completely under conscious control. Genetics provides a subtle but significant influence on partner selection, operating below the level of awareness to guide our choices in ways we're only beginning to understand. Consider the major histocompatibility complex, a group of genes that help the immune system recognize foreign invaders. These genes also influence body odor in ways so subtle that conscious minds don't notice, but subconscious attraction systems do. Research suggests that people are often drawn to partners whose MHC genes differ from their own. This preference, if it exists, would make evolutionary sense. Children with diverse MHC genes would have more robust immune systems, better equipped to handle a variety of diseases and infections. Twin studies provide another window into genetic influences on love. Identical twins who share 100% of their DNA show more similar patterns in partner choice than fraternal twins who share only 50% of their genes. This suggests that genetic factors influence not just physical preferences, but also attraction to certain personality types, communication styles, even life goals and values. The genes don't determine our choices, but they may nudge us in certain directions. These genetic influences interact with environmental factors in complex ways. Cultural messages, family experiences, personal history, and individual psychology all play important roles. Genetics provides the raw material, but experience shapes how that material gets expressed. Like a piano that comes with certain keys, but the music depends on who's playing and what song they choose to perform. Understanding the genetic components of attraction adds another layer to the mystery of love. It doesn't diminish the wonder of finding someone special, but it does suggest that compatibility operates at levels deeper than conscious preference. Perhaps what we experience as chemistry includes literal biochemical compatibility, ancient genetic wisdom expressed through modern hearts. The dance of attraction becomes even more intricate when we realize that our genes are dancing too, to rhythms older than civilization, to songs written in the depths of evolutionary time. Every person expresses and receives love in their own unique language. And relationship satisfaction often depends on whether partners can learn to speak each other's dialects. Dr. Gary Chapman identified 5 primary love languages, 5 distinct ways that people naturally give and receive affection. Understanding these languages can transform relationships, turning missed connections into moments of profound understanding. Words of affirmation speak love through language itself. I appreciate you. You did a great job. I'm proud of you. For people who speak this language, verbal acknowledgement carries tremendous weight. Criticism cuts especially deep, while sincere compliments can heal old wounds and strengthen emotional bonds. They need to hear love as much as feel it, to have their worth reflected back through carefully chosen words. Acts of service express love through helpful actions. Doing the dishes without being asked, running errands for a busy partner, taking care of responsibilities that make life easier. These people feel most loved when their partners notice what needs to be done and do it. The action becomes the emotion. Effort becomes affection. Service becomes love made visible. Receiving gifts represents love through thoughtful tokens. This isn't about materialism, but about the thought and intention behind the gesture. A small flower picked during a walk. A book that reminded you of something they said. A surprise treat from their favorite bakery. The gift becomes a physical reminder that they were in your thoughts, a tangible symbol of intangible care. Quality time speaks love through presence and attention. Uninterrupted conversations, shared activities, moments of focused connection where distractions fade away. For these people, being together isn't enough. Being truly present is what matters. They need to feel seen, heard, prioritized through the gift of undivided attention. Physical touch expresses love through gentle contact, holding hands, casual embraces, a comforting pat on the shoulder. These people feel most connected through physical affection. Touch becomes a direct line to their heart, a way of communicating care that bypasses words entirely. Learning to speak your partner's love language and teaching them to speak yours creates a richer, more satisfying emotional connection. Love becomes not just what you feel, but what they receive. Picture a child watching their parents interact, observing how love gets expressed, how conflicts get resolved, how two people share space and make decisions together. These early observations become the foundation for all future understanding of love. Family dynamics don't just influence romantic relationships. They create the template from which all future relationships emerge, like a mold that shapes every subsequent experience of intimacy. Healthy family dynamics provide children with a secure base from which to explore love. When parents communicate respectfully, show affection openly, and work through disagreements constructively, children internalize these patterns as normal and desirable. They learn that love includes both individual identity and shared cooperation, that couples can be close without losing themselves, that problems can be solved rather than endured or avoided. But dysfunctional family patterns also get passed down. Children who witness constant conflict may assume that drama equals passion, that fighting proves love's intensity. Those who grow up with emotionally distant parents might struggle to create or recognize intimacy, thinking that independence is safer than vulnerability. The child who watched one parent control or manipulate the other learns that power dynamics are part of love, even when those dynamics cause pain. Sibling relationships add another layer to this emotional education. Learning to negotiate with brothers and sisters, to share resources and attention, to maintain individual identity within a family system. These skills translate directly to romantic relationships. The person who learned to communicate needs clearly, to compromise without resentment, to maintain boundaries while staying connected, carries these abilities into adult love. Awareness of family influences creates opportunities for growth and healing. Adults can examine the patterns they inherited, choosing which ones serve them and which need to be changed. Therapy can help untangle unhealthy dynamics, while conscious relationships provide opportunities to practice new ways of loving. Family shapes us, but it doesn't have to define us. We can honor the love we received while creating even healthier patterns for the relationships we build. The cycle continues, but with intention, with awareness, with the possibility of improvement passing from generation to generation. In the quiet space between what we hope for and what we experience, there exists a rare and precious form of love that asks for nothing in return. Unconditional love, most often found in the bond between parent and child, represents love in its purest form. Acceptance without conditions, caring without requirements, presence without prerequisites. This kind of love creates profound psychological safety. When someone loves you regardless of your achievements, your mistakes, your changing moods or circumstances, a deep calm settles in your nervous system. You can rest in the knowledge that your worth isn't dependent on your performance, that you belong simply because you exist. This security becomes the foundation for healthy self-esteem, for the courage to take risks, for the ability to love others without desperate neediness. In romantic relationships, true unconditional love remains rare and complex. Partners necessarily have some expectations of each other, some boundaries and requirements for the relationship to function. Yet elements of unconditional love can exist within romantic bonds. Love that persists through illness and aging, through career failures and personal struggles, through the ordinary disappointments that life brings to every human being. This isn't naive acceptance of harmful behavior, but rather a deep commitment that transcends temporary circumstances. Mental health research shows fascinating connections between love and psychological well-being. Secure relationships provide a buffer against stress, reducing cortisol levels and supporting immune function. People in healthy relationships show lower rates of depression and anxiety, higher resilience in facing life's challenges. Love becomes a form of medicine, healing not through dramatic intervention, but through the steady presence of care and connection. Yet love can also wound when relationships become toxic or abusive, when control masquerades as caring, when possessiveness replaces respect. The very systems designed to promote bonding can cause harm. Understanding this dual nature of love, its capacity to heal and to hurt, emphasizes the importance of conscious, healthy relationship practices. As you rest now, feeling the weight of sleep beginning to settle, remember that love in all its forms, from the chemical dance in your brain to the social structures that support it, represents humanity's greatest achievement. Our ability to transcend individual existence and create something larger, more meaningful, more beautiful than any one person could create alone. Let that knowledge carry you gently into dreams, where love continues its quiet work of connection, even in sleep.